We're going to wait a minute, see if some people join us and share it. I'm trying to share it. Some people are like, I can't find you. So we're going to share it. Hi. We're just sharing to a couple people because they always say they can't find me. So we're going to share and see if some people stop by and say hi. And then we're going to work on an English paper piecing project. If I can find my last little... Hi, Pat. Okay. I got that all shared. Going to town. Good evening. Do you paper piece? English paper piece, that is? Because English paper piecing is a whole other beast. I'm all ready. I got all my glasses. And I got all my stuff. And I got a pattern. And so I brought this one home because, of course, it's Tula Pink. This is Tumbling Cosmos. And you can do it not in her fabric if you want. It's kind of just the how do we paper piece. So I got our Tumbling Cosmos because I can't see. Okay? Because I can't see. And these are necessary sometimes to see those itty bitty tiny stitches up close. And I will demonstrate if you're just patient. I have bifocals. I know, Aunt Shrita, you paper piece. So I finished, well, I almost finished. I have one last little part to do on here, but I have my Place for Everything bag. This is the By Annie pattern, A Place for Everything 2.0. And I did mine in Tula Pink's 50th anniversary collection. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Yes, I wear them at the same time. Absolutely. Absolutely. This has little key fobs for a shoulder strap, which I didn't make because I made a suitcase strap, so it went on my luggage. And I left the pocket off of this because I really wanted to see the owl's eyeballs. So when you open this, it has pages, and it's supposed to have a strap here, but I haven't put it in yet. And I put a mesh zipper pouch in the front where I have a little pocket of projects. And then I made 2 pages. I wanted it to hold a whole bunch of thread, but I found that my pockets are not quite big enough to hold thread on both sides, so I use this side for my little accessories. But this is the bomb. And then this is where my extra glasses go when they're not on my head, and my chapstick. And I had scissors, but I pulled them out, and a couple of pieces that I pulled out to show you. And this is another project, and this is the other 2 blocks of my Queen of Diamonds. And then in this side of this, I have another mesh pocket that has nothing in it because I took it out already. So this is my A Place for Everything travel bag for ATP. And I took some tools out for for us to play with, and I forgot. This is an important tool. Okay, hi. It was such a fun bag to make. It was such a fun bag. So tonight we're going to talk about Tula Pink's Tumbling Cosmos pattern and how to EPP. This is the acrylic template set. And the pattern is, oh, this is broken. Oh, that's so sad. Anyways, and we're going to talk about using the templates and how we mark our pieces. So I have a couple of tools here when I EPP. I have my extra glasses, and Taryn's already laughed at them. These are readers. I have extras. I think they are plus ones. Maybe they're 1.5s. I don't know, but they work great. So if you need these are great. I have, I'm missing some tools, y'all. I have my thread stand, and I have this little thread stand is really handy when you're sewing EPP because your thread stands on here, but this comes off for when you're traveling. And this is a little magnet for your needle. And this cap holds your beautiful glue pen that, oh, I had out the other day and did not pick back where it belonged. So this is your So Worn Out Sue Daily glue pen, and it sits right there so that when you're gluing and your glue pen is empty, like mine appears to be. I must have washed this one after I used it last. Oh, look, it's okay. I have another. It gets really dirty. Hi, Lisa. And so when you're doing this, your little lid stays in there so you can put your glue pen in and pick it up without getting glue all over everything you're working on, just the lid. And then it needs to be washed, which is why this one's empty. It is still not perfectly clean, but it's a little slimy, which means I washed it or attempted to. So I use, when I English paper piece, I usually use size 10 Milner needles, but for some reason I have size 9. I will bend these. I must grip it so it's tight I bend them. So that's super fun. And this is good. I had this tipped down so you could see my workspace a little better, but I'm going to set these with that for a minute. And then I have a couple things in this little gadget the girls got me for Christmas one year. The work girls, not the children girls, but that's okay. This is a needle thing. It has metal sheets, in it, so my magnets stick here. And then I have a little felt or felt pad, and I cut a hole in it so my scissors stayed in here, and the magnet behind it kind of keeps them from falling out, which is kind of cool, and a couple pins just in case. So this is a nice handy tool to keep things straight if you're traveling. And then a thimble. Darlene, do you EPP? One thing I have that I've had for forever, so you really only need to buy it once, even though it's kind of expensive. I'm not gonna lie, I think that this was like $6 or $7, and I just threw it all over the floor, so now it's really dirty. That's so great. That's so great. Is this little thing of thread conditioner called Thread Magic, and it feels like I think it's just a wax, honestly. But if your thread is like super staticky or you're having troubles with it knotting a lot, I'll show you how to run your thread through that. So we got a few tools here to play with. I know Lisa EPPs. I know never. Oh, I love it. I have to get some thread. What color are we going to play with? Who knows? I think we're playing with blue because I have an in-progress blue project right here, so that we're going to talk about. So see, I could take my thread spool and stick it on here and it won't go flying all over the place while I'm working on it tonight. So, oh no, it's fine, it's fine. The other tool that I love, love, love is this Sew Line 3-in-1. because it's sharp. And it has 3 colors. It has a pink, a white, and a gray. And you just twist it. It's like those, remember those pens in middle school where you push down the color and there was like 10, it was really fat, but this one only has 3? You know, I know, Lisa. You know, Darlene, I really thought the same thing, that I would not like it. And I love it. I go through spurts. Right now I'm in like a crochet spurt. This is my block 11 for this quilt, and I have one part of it already started. So before we get here, we cut things out. There's a bunch of little steps beforehand, so I wanted to show you with this template. And I happen to have, this is a C, I need 6 and 3 A's. So most acrylic templates for this, hi Gretchen, I hope you're feeling better. Hi Sue. We are EPPing a little bit today, if I can get the back off of this to show you. Because could I find any templates that were ready to go? No, of course not. So your piece has your seam allowance marked on it. This is a 3/8 inch seam. I know those pens are great. Great when you're taking notes because you can write different colors. This is a 3/8 inch seam, and I happen to have the color. Oh, this is not the right color. That's so lame. I thought this was the right color. This is a newer color than the older colors in my Tula scraps here. So let's see if we can find one that I do have. Oh my goodness, this has so many colors. Oh, that one. Let me get this. This is fern. Nope, nope. Here we go. Okay, we need 6 diamonds out of this one. I label my Tula pink scraps because that way I know what to reorder. And I keep them, this is my 3rd box, so don't judge. I keep them in a photo bin so that when I want to, I can take it out. And I know this is Tiny Dots Lily Pad. So if the pattern calls for that, I know what I have. And then I have them all labeled. It's very easy when you're trying to find things and wonder what she has called the colors if you're a Tula Pink fan. If you're not, that's okay. You can use this. I also have one of these for Art Gallery's solid fabrics, and I have them all labeled as well. Because when you're using a solid here and there, you want to know what color it is so that you can reorder if you need to. How many times have you gone and like done something and then you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what color that is. And then you can't find it. So when I cut my fabric for EPP, I want to see where this is going because I want to, this pattern is huge. I think you pay for these color prints for real. I want to see which way she's got these stripes going on this one. The whole point of English paper piecing for me is that I can fussy cut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, these are all parallel stripes. So when you are, why is this moving? When you are fussy cutting, you can see through the window here where your stripes go. So you can arrange it to go on point so that they match up exactly this way. Or you can arrange it so the stripes run a certain way across your seam or across your project. So this particular piece wants your stripes to run parallel to one of the sides. Tumbling Cosmos. it is this one. Because it's just like scraps, so I can just build the scraps as I have like a little piece. Like, you know, I use this piece of this. This is a fairly benign piece. Some of mine are very holy. And so I can just make these and put them in the box for when I get around to making it. So but there's a couple things about this. Let me move this back so you can see. So when I'm working on this, mostly these don't slip, but sometimes they get slippery, and you can put a little grip on it. You can use a grip tape, or there's a spray adhesive to help them not move. But for me, I always use these pens and mark them before I start cutting, because I want to make sure I can get the most efficient use out of my this is a little bit darker. I probably should have used the white. That would have showed up better. I'm on like my third refill on this pen. I love this pen. Have fun with the sabers. I know they're playing tonight and I'm not watching, so have fun. We'll see you soon. So I need, who remembers how many I needed? This was fern, so I need 6 A's, six diamonds, and it'll have an A, like this one has an A on it. So I'm going to cut out 2 so I can show you how to glue them, and then we can move on to showing how to piece it. So I use glue. Some people sew based. And so I hold this down, and I want to, let's see if the pink shows up better on here. Oh, it definitely does. Winning color. Greens are hard. Blues are hard. You know what I learned today? Or actually yesterday, someone shared with me that sometimes, one, I'm running out of the pink lead. Navy blue dye can be so over dyed that it is frail, and I have been having trouble with this one quilt, and the thread kept breaking, and I have tried everything. So I think the end of the day today we got it all figured out. The other greatest tool, if you don't want to scissor cut your pieces, like if you really need precision and you want to use your rotary cutter, is the spinning mat. I love this mat. And I love this one for EPP because it has bearings in it, and you can see it's like a record player. It just spins. It's great. So it makes it really simple. Here, you might be able to see this, I hope. When you are cutting it out on here, because you can just keep your pressure on your mat and roll it around. So then your piece is cut out perfectly. The reason that I draw around these is because I want to line them up. Now this one is not so important because it is just in a block and it's not touching anything. But let me cut out this other piece and I'll show you part of why I mark them. And because the seam allowance on these are so wide, sometimes I'll mark a whole bunch and I'll use scissors to cut them out. It really depends on the project and what I'm working on. But let's say I wanted these pieces when I sewed them to be perfectly perpendicular like this, or if I wanted them, oops, to be, let's say they needed to match up exactly. It would help me to match up my seams by marking it first, because what if I can't get another one out of the fabric? This is not a great fabric to explain that. I have another one here. For example, oh, hold on. Let's put I gotta label my fabric, girls. Hold on. I gotta put this back or it will get disorganized, and I spent a lot of time organizing this one. We're gonna chop that off. Okay. So this fabric here is from Besties, and I've used this a lot in English paper piecing. It's super fun, right? So if I wanted to make, oh, I have a set right here already cut out. These things are great. The photo things are great. Great, great, great. Okay, look, I even have this color cut out. I told you I use this fabric a lot. So this is block 1 of 1 of a block of the month that I was supposed to be doing lots of. But I needed these to be right in the center of my diamonds so that when I sew these together, they line up. And then it will look like this. When you're done, you're going to have a perfect connection. So when you're trying to get that perfect lineup, you really want to mark them and make sure you can get those pieces in your fabric. So like I wouldn't be able to get, if we were using this shape, we would want to mark this and make sure that the hexagon was right in the center, and then we would want to see where we could get the next closest one, which you could just wing it, but sometimes you don't have a lot of fabric, especially if you're using an out of print fabric when you want to make a specific motif. So this is from Besties. Now I have this one all cut out and ready to go. I have a lot cut out and ready to go, which is nice because I can just grab this and travel, and this is enough to keep me busy for a whole vacation. This one is really fun. It took almost 3 yards of fabric to get the motif that I wanted, so I have a lot of this. But I wanted, I think it goes like this on this one, because I have 10. I wanted this to go like this. Now the seams in the center of this are super, it is super important to manage your tails, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. Let me set these up and then I can show you. Is that cool or what? Jan, because Janice, because I need to be able to see when I'm sewing tiny things, when I put these together. I can't see the tiny stitches otherwise, and that's why. So this is my magnifier of my things. Otherwise, I go like this, and I can see them, but then I can't see the TV. So if I do it this way, I can see the TV and the people that are in here, and I can still see what I'm sewing. So these are the little poodles. They're so stinking cute. So this block is all ready to sew. She's super cute, and she's so fun. And I changed some of this, and it's not perfect. It's not perfect. It is not. But by the time you're all done, I wanted to show how thick this crazy seam gets when you have all your tails in here. I can hear you laughing at me in my 2 pair of glasses. So this is the whole motif. And she's so cool. But do you see how thick this seam is here? Because all of these tails have to be managed. So when you sew or you fold them, you need to make sure that all of them go the same way. So if you see this one going to that side, so this side is folded over to the edge, and so all of them are folded the same way, so it kind of pinwheels around. So that is another important thing to watch when you're managing your seams. And I think I have one over here that's all cut. I don't think I have papers out of it, so let's look at this one. So this one that I'm going to show you how to stitch on tonight is an elephant one. Thanks, Joy. And so this is, you can see the seams here, how they are all going to the side. So they start going this way and then they keep going. This is 4 of them on one side, if I remember correctly. I think it goes here and then we go. Now I have to find the picture because I don't remember. So I'm sorry. I don't remember what I did with it. I thought it was right here. I do know that this goes up here. And then in the middle is this conglomeration of 4 of these on the sides, I think. I gotta pull my picture out. So that is some of the tips of this. Now we're going to talk about sewing as soon as I figure out which way those go. This is ready to go. I've got quite a bit cut out and glued. I like to glue baste, like I said, because I feel like glue basting stays longer. Like that's been glued for a year, probably longer, and they come right out. So this one here, I'm going to unglue. It's already unglued, and you can pop your paper out and reuse it. And the glue doesn't really bother the papers. I get about 3 uses out of the templates before they're pretty worn. And then if you accidentally, oh, I'm not quite ready to leave that unsecure, you just re-glue it and you're done. So let me look up this picture for this one because it's in there. So I took a picture because I knew I was going to work on it so that I could not have to carry the book around. And now, can I find the book? It's here somewhere. It's here somewhere. Quilting. Okay. Of course, you know I have lots of quilts because that's my job. I have lots of them. So what questions do you have about English paper piecing? Now, you know I love foundation paper piecing, and I started my second T-Rex. So he's so fun. He's so fun. Where? I have so many EPPs in here. It's so crazy because I love the slow stitching of it. when I'm just kind of sitting around, or when it's cold, or when it's nice out and I can sit outside and not feel guilty for sewing because I'm sitting on the back deck and sewing out in the beautiful sunshine. What block is this? Queen of Diamonds. This is a Queen of Diamonds. This is actually the end of my first, here we go. Okay, I thought so. Okay, so the blues go on either side. Got it. So this goes here. This makes a diamond piece like this. So these 4 triangles end up making this diamond. I did get you hooked. And you do a great job. So when I sew, let me get a needle out. Oh, I have one in here. I use a thimble because otherwise I poke myself and that's not fun. And I thimble on my ring finger, which is unusual. I also use these magnets. These are called Sew Tights, and they're little tough boogers. And you line up your pieces. And then you magnet them, and they're pretty tough to move afterwards. Now, let's see here. The papers on these are going to make sure we are lined up. This is the right way. This does not look like the right way. I think it goes this way. Correct. I was almost going to do it wrong. Okay, here we go. I had the, what's the technical term? The hypotenuse, the long edge of the triangle lined up when I needed to have the long edge of the 90-degree angle. So I have my ends magneted together like so. And I'm going to move you guys closer so we can see what's happening here. We're going to get real close and personal. Sorry. So we have it here. We're going to come down here so we can see what's happening. Stop. This camera likes to see. It likes to track. I apologize. You're going to have a little bit of up close and personal for just a second. And I don't use more than like this much thread at a time. Otherwise it gets very tangled and you end up wasting it anyway, so there's really no point in having more than that. I was told that there is a right end to put on the needle because thread is made to go in one direction. See, I can't see this. I can't see this. This is why we have these glasses. Because now I see it perfectly. Threaded. I don't not. So I'm going to try and get this thing to turn down here so you can see what we're doing. Stay. Stay. Why won't this camera stay? I'm going to put something there. Stay. I hate this camera. I know what's going on. Okay, so when we are sewing, here, you see? We are going to take the needle and just barely grab a couple threads in both pieces that we're trying to go through. I need about 2 threads. Do you see? Come on, focus. There you go. So very, very little threads on there. And you're going to come through like so. And you're going to hold your tail. And then you're going to do it again. And when you put it through this time, I take the long thread, I'm going to wrap it once, twice, 3 times. We're going to pull it tight and put it under your finger back there. And then we're going to push our needle through and untangle it from the other piece, because that's what just happened. Pull it through, and now we've made a knot. It's a modified knicker knot, or whatever they want to call it. Let's see if we can move you back a little bit. Okay, so now that we have this here, we're going to, you know, if I could figure out camera management, we would have so much more fun. We're going to grab just a little bit again, and this time we're just going to keep stitching. And there's so many tools that tell you how often to stitch. I hate this camera. You and I are not friends, camera. So then you just keep going. And if you have tails like this right here in your way, sometimes I will pull it back because you don't want this bulk in your seam, because it will, over time of the quilt, it can make your pieces not fit. You guys can laugh at me all you want. I know you are. It's okay. It's okay. I usually put way too many stitches in my pieces because I have a problem. Some people do like, you know, 5 or 6. I do like 7 or 8 in an inch. And I don't know what's right. Whatever makes you happy is right. If you like it, you love what you're doing, it stays together, good enough for me. I'm at an angle that I don't like because this camera is being stupid. And when I get to the end of the row, I'll do the same knot again, and they don't come out. It does pretty good. Even if I have more thread left, if I'm like turning a corner of a hexie, I will do that knot at each of the intersections so the seams don't pull apart, because there's nothing worse than your pieces coming apart. And I'll show you, like, see, very little, come on, come on. Oh, Janice. If it makes you laugh, that's fine. What's it matter? It doesn't matter. They laugh at me, that's okay. Sometimes when you get little knots in your thread, you can work them out. And if you can't, then you break your thread and you knot it up and you start over again. I'm much faster whenever I'm not trying to show you what I'm doing. But we're almost done here with one seam. Sometimes you can't take a sewing machine. And you don't have a good book. And you just want to sew a little. Every couple of stitches I make sure my tail's good, because there's nothing like pulling your thread, your needle, and then realizing you have to go find your thread and rethread your needle. And we're going to go backwards after this and talk about gluing. because I did cut those pieces out for we can glue them. There's probably way more stitches here. I don't know. I have a cheater somewhere. I have this little, I think it's in here. I have a cheater one that tells you how many stitches per inch. And some girls have like they put little marks on their thumb or their finger, whichever's holding that, to show how many stitches or how far apart to do their stitches. I don't think I'd ever go that far, but it's definitely not a tattoo. That's not this girl. I like needles in my sewing machines, and for hand sewing, not going in my skin any more than I self-inflict. And I do self-inflict a few times on accident if I haven't pinned your quilt. I've switched to magnets, these Sew Tight magnets for my long arm, and I have stopped bleeding on people's quilts, which is fabulous. Such a fabulous thing, because I was always bleeding. I would always prick myself somehow. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're almost done. So the end of this is a triangle, and a lot of this down here is fabric, just like the fold over of the fabric. So you really want to just make sure that you are grabbing the fabric and not the seam allowance. That way your pieces will fit together in the corners. All right, so I'm going to do a little knot here. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, pull it back and hold it tight, and then pull your needle through. And that knots your thread. And I usually do 2. I have a little bit of overkill problem. I usually do 2 at the end here, but I think I'm at the end of the paper. This one is not lining up perfectly. Not even close. We're going to fake it till we make it. Good news is if it doesn't look right, a lot of times a little bit of starch and some steam will fix our problem. Okay, we're gonna 1, 2, 3. I am overkill on my knots. I know it's bad. Sometimes if it doesn't stay quite as tight, you can coax it to be back towards the fabric if you just kind of give it a little tug, but not too, because you don't want it to come undone. Okay, so that's done. I'll put this up so I can see far away. So then when you take your magnet off, I have the next piece of my triangle. So that part is easy. Now we all know how to do that. We're going to go back here because we're going to show how to glue these pieces that we cut out earlier. Oh my gosh, it's already been an hour. Look at us go. But we talked about a lot of things. We did a lot of things. I put my needle on my little thing so I don't sit on it later. Okay, let's talk about gluing these. We're going to go up here. And a little bit of height so that you can see. This is an A shape. So we need 2 of these. Now this shape in this pattern, this is the beautiful thing about English paper piecing, is how perfectly you can get these. Now I know that there are people who are just amazing sewists and they can line up fabric. I've seen it. I've seen amazing things. But sometimes some of us are not perfect, and that's me. So when I am gluing, I'm going to stop it. I want them to see this. I'm going to line up the edge of the template with the line that I want on the fabric, because I want to make sure that it is lining up parallel to the lines. And when I'm happy with that, and I know that I can get both pieces similar because I would want them to be the same. Whoops, this is the glue stick that is empty. Then I will take my glue here and run a little bit on this side and then fold that side over. And I really try to fold tight to my papers. I don't know if that's right or not, but it works for me. And then I'm going to the other side. So I glued this side. I'm going to go over here and I glue this side. Now I've secured it, and then I'm going to check that my lines are parallel to the edge of the template so that I know I'm going to get the look that I want. So this is our look. And when I am gluing the back of these, I will make sure that I go into the fabric as well so that the corners stay down. And I went off the edge of the fabric up here so that this corner stays glued to the fabric behind it. So when you fold it, you have a crisp fold. So I also overuse the glue. I'm not going to lie. I go through more glue than anybody, I'm sure. Okay. So there's this end, and we're done with that. And you see how the tail goes this way. And then the back, you can see that it is glued down to the paper. Now down here, this corner's a little up. I am going to glue it. Put a little stitch of glue there and then push it down. I don't like my seams getting in my way, so I'm pretty careful to make sure that everything is glued, and that is not one of my problems with it. So now you can see I have my seam. My tails are going each direction, so that's kind of important to be able to manage your seams, especially when you nest them together. On my second one, and I'm going to do the same thing. And I want to make sure, because I like them to look similar, that I kind of match up where these lines are. And I did this way first. And I know these are not going to intersect, but if you get into the habit of starting on a certain side with all of your things, then you won't have to unglue and reshape your tail later. So, and you can, if you mess up and you glue it one way and you find when you're assembling it, these come off really easily and you can rearrange it. Re-glue it, press it if you need to. You can iron the papers. So you really can get that perfect look that you want with just a little bit of manhandling. Okay, so now we have two pieces. We have managed to do these. Now the good news about this particular one is if they were going together, the tails nest well. They're not going the same way, because if this one were going this way, it would be very hard to kind of sit them in there together. And that was one of the hardest things to figure out at first, was what the heck do you do at the ends to make sure that your points meet so nicely. No, before glue they sewed these. So they would take a needle and sew through the seams all the way around. They would punch holes in the middle so they could pop them out, and then they cut the seams. I am not sewing twice. Unsewing, hand sewing is so painful. It's like unsewing an entire quilt. Just one seam, because you work really hard for that seam. I mean, how long did that seam take me? Maybe 3 or 4 minutes. It looks very nice, so I did a good job. thread color matters. Like that is a pretty good blend on that one. But see, this is an example. See how the seam is coming up here? I will glue that down before I start the next one and make sure that it's tight around this paper. I will probably even iron it because this one is not behaving well, to make sure that the rest of this piece lays well together. This one is a tricky one because of how they create this diamond. So it goes in here like this to make this diamond, and it's tricky. Those seams in the middle of that are tricky. But I find it fun. I finish a block. So each of those blocks probably took like 6 or 7 hours to sew. And probably just as long to cut. No. It depends on how much you want to fussy cut. Like if you just start, drawing shapes, you can cut them out quickly. But if you really want to fussy cut, like these were easy because one, you're not fussy cutting a solid. They're easy. But you really do fussy cut your shapes. Let me grab a couple. This is a really good example. So is this one. Oh my gosh, so is this one. So look at this one. You spent a lot of time fussy cutting that to match up in the middle. And then on the back, you can see what I'm talking about with your seam management. So it pinwheels around here. And then this one was really fun. Same thing in the middle. This one was super fun. I like the dragon. And I loved this fabric. This is one that I swapped out for my own. And so this was, the block is in the pattern, but not the colors that I chose. And I love this one. And my stripes aren't perfect, but they're pretty darn close. How cool is that? I'm pretty proud of myself, if I do say so myself. But see, here I've taken the papers out because it's this, I must have needed that triangle. I haven't taken these out yet. These are pretty well worn. They're pretty worn. I don't think the owl would last another round. But it's super fun. So I hope you enjoyed this, or maybe you learned a little something, and I hope maybe you'll try it. We EPP on Thursday. The other lady and I, and there's a couple ladies that meet on Thursday at the shop to do English paper piecing. Sometimes we do a little bit of tissue paper piecing or foundation paper piecing. So stop by from 10 to 2 and hang out with us. Have a great night, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you.